All right, cool. Well, then let's get started. Let's kick off with White Lotus because it finished. Um, we all had opinions about it. Now we can discuss those opinions. I was worried because what I was originally going to do was just talk to Andrew about it, not put it in the episode, and then talk to you next week, and then kind of put the two things together. But since you made it, we might as well blab about it. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I thought. Uh, I pretty much hated it by the time it was done. Like I really, um, there's so much that I didn't like. If it comes down to what I did like, I got to think about it for a couple minutes. But I found the ending very unsatisfying. I found almost the entirety of the season unsatisfying, and I think the things that um, made it the best were moments from like Sam Rockwell, who wasn't a regular character. Um, the speech by Carrie Coon was great, but kind of uh, I don't know, like the placing of it, the timing of it was kind of iffy. And she did a great job. Um, but yeah, we'll start there. That's my take. What about you, Lauren?
So this could be a controversial take. I actually thought this was the best ending yet. However, I thought this was like from start to up until the end, the worst season. Like just very dull and then got very good. And then I actually thought the ending in terms of like who died and stuff, I thought that was well done compared to season one and season two, personally. And then hearing after the fact, because on HBO they do the quick like 5 minute wrap ups, Michael White actually explains how he came up with all of these like different plots between the Ratliff family. That was inspired by a family where the father lost a lot of money and killed his entire family.
Hmm.
But plot twists that clearly, oh, spoilers for those that are
Yeah,
watching.
yeah.
Uh, he comes to his senses pretty last minute and decides not to. However, you're led to believe that Lachlan does die, but he doesn't. So it's one of those like cautionary tales, like your family and your blood is so much more important than the material things in life. So that I really appreciated. And then the Romeo and Juliet ending for Chelsea and Rick. I knew she was going to die. As soon as she came running after him between the snakes, getting in between that robbery, this woman is just always at the wrong place, at the wrong time. And this is what happens when you latch onto toxic men. And she, for some reason, just continued to like love this man unconditionally. I knew she was going to die. I knew she was going to die. And perfect ending to have him die holding her as he's trying to save her, being shot by Gotlock, Gatlock, the
Oh,
security guard,
guy talk. Yeah.
Gaitok. Brilliant, because this is how he's able to finally gain the courage to take on more of an assertive role, and then him getting his promotion at the end, being a badass. And then, hello, Belinda. Justice has been served. Although, funny how she is now in the position of Tanya, where this very kind person who actually has her best interests at heart, who wants to go partner with her in her business ventures, she turns him down as soon as she gets rich.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting, but I was genuinely happy for her and like pretty cool with the son too, negotiating at the end. I wasn't sure if it was going to happen, but it made perfect sense. I mean, at the end of the day, it's only 1% of his total
Yeah.
just well, not even earnings, but total of what he has to go to this woman to stay quiet the rest of his life, her life, and might as well just get 5 million out of it and start her own spa. And hopefully that spa opens at a location for season four, because that would be fantastic.
What about you, Andrew? I know we are similar in opinion
Yeah.
than Lauren.
Oh, wait, one last thing. Sorry. The fact that that was his father, hilarious at the end. Did
Well,
you
I saw
guys
that.
predict
I
that?
saw that coming in
You
episode like
did?
one. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
That's hilarious. But also had to die too. So yeah, I liked the ending. I thought the ending was the best ending. Not a great season, but the best ending. And I'm like okay with everyone that died. I actually am okay with everyone that died. I didn't think like the deaths were ridiculous, like I did with Tanya dying in season two. And season one, just the idiot who takes a poop in the hotel room and then getting shot by that recently married guy, which was kind of ridiculous. Like I thought these deaths actually made the most sense, and I was okay with the ending. I actually was like applauding Michael White for this. So that's all I have to say about that. But gentlemen, continue.
All right. I hated it. I hated the whole thing. And so much that I will never like give a shit about White Lotus again. If it would have to be super good for me to even waste my time on this show, because I was really looking forward to it. I felt like it was the shallowest season. I felt like season one, honestly, in my opinion, was the deepest in that it really dug into class issues and it dug into how the friend of the daughter was all about, oh, pro Hawaii, but then she ends up getting scot-free, while the Hawaiian who falls for her is the one who has to go to prison.
Yep.
It's like there was so much injustice in the show in season one. And I gotta say, the hotel manager, like he was just that guy, you know his name, Kevin, but he is so charismatic. I mean, I loved watching him. He electrified
In season one.
one. Yes, he
Yeah,
was also in The Last of Us. Forget his name, but
Yeah,
he's a great actor.
yeah, yeah.
You can put it in
I,
post.
yeah, yeah.
So season two, I mean, also in my opinion, deep. And again, I just liked the almost. I
No,
think
he
it's
was he
Albert.
was the manager in season two.
No, he was season one.
season one,
The gay guy.
a
He's the
Hawaiian
one he
hotel.
takes he takes a dump in the briefcase, and then because remember the
I
douchey boyfriend wanted
thought
the room, and he would
Yeah,
not give it to him.
I thought that
Yeah,
was the douchey boyfriend of Blue Eyes. What's her face? Yeah, yeah. You know what? You know what?
yeah, yeah. She's also in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's also in
Yeah,
season.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
all.
yeah. I'm mixing it up. You're right. You're right. You're right.
And
Okay.
you can
Yeah,
edit.
yeah, yeah. I don't have
All
to edit
right.
it out. I can look like an
Yeah.
idiot. Uh,
All right, and then season two again, more and more stuff, but black comedy or dark comedy with Tanya. Again, I love the irony that she was a muff of a badass, take out everybody on that boat, but then couldn't get out of her own way. I just think that is so human. There are humans out there who literally cannot get out of their own
and it
way.
was on brand for her. Like for
Totally on
just
brand. It was perfect. It was honestly, it was perfect. It was perfect. Season three now. I just felt like, the three friends were beyond I keep saying the word basic, but they were beyond basic to me. I'm like, y'all, wow, what a waste of brain space and time and energy and whatever.
but
But
it's
again,
real though. That's the
no,
thing.
no,
yeah.
I'll finish.
Okay,
I'm not a
yes.
woman with friends who's catty, so it doesn't appeal to me. But
Right.
but I
Sure.
also but I also feel like really it's a lack of self-awareness on Carrie Coon's part. And again, I am on brand. I'm all about being self-aware. So if you're not
Sure.
self-aware, I'm being truthful. It's real, but it doesn't mean it doesn't suck. I'm sorry. Like it's just come on, man, like dig deeper. The dad I actually kind of liked because at the end of the day, his world is falling apart. And the fact that he actually didn't go through it was something that I really kind of respect because that's character growth. Because the whole time you're seeing him fantasize killing his family, and then at the very, very last minute, he doesn't, and he, almost to the point where he freaks out. And then you see the regret. Now, y'all didn't mention this, but I'm going to mention this on this podcast. Again, a lot of times I look at horror movies and go, it wouldn't happen to me. That's why I can't relate to it. So again, why would your nasty ass wake up in the morning, see some stuff in a blender, and not wash the shit first? Are you
Yeah.
are you nasty?
Yeah,
Like
that's
you're gonna get food poisoning somehow anyway, but whatever, idiot. Drinks it, gets sick, almost dies. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite sequences in the whole season was his quote unquote death sequence.
oh, I
That
hated that. I thought it was so
I
corny.
liked it.
You
Yeah,
know, everybody did it. Like I'm in the minority there,
yeah.
but I hated it. I thought it was so corny. Like it served no purpose. If he had died,
It
sure.
would have been no. That's what I'm saying. If he had
Yeah.
died, perfect. But the fact that he lived was a cop out.
Yeah.
Total cop out. He should have died. Now going back to everything else. Oh, the guy who uh Tanya's ex, Greg. Greg, like I just felt like his whole situation was kind of pointless.
Pointless. He
Um,
was there to give her money.
he was there to give her money, but he was also for me what brought me back to the show because I wanted to find out what happened with him, and nothing happened with him. He's just a cuck, basically, a rich cuck. Now going to uh, uh oh my God, basically toxic husband and wife or toxic boyfriend and girlfriend. It's like they're both
Chelsea and Wreck.
and they're both nuts. And she says it. She says that guy made revenge his god, and she made him her god.
Yep.
Amor Fati, it's like, and that's why I couldn't stand either of them. Again, I talk about boundaries. They had none. This guy had no emotional control. He's very entitled, coming in to another country, loosening up snakes, like what an idiot. And then after you go almost kill somebody, you go back to the hotel and
That
hang
he
out.
runs.
Like, what? And then again, so for me, it's like you get what you deserve. If you're that dumb and you have zero like self-respect for yourself and keep following somebody else into their death, then you deserve it too. I'm sorry. I have zero sympathy. So basically, oh, and then last but not least, Belinda. So the I agree that it sucks she did the same thing that got done to her, but the difference is she had to get the hell out of Thailand because it's like, why would I stay in a place where homeboy might change his mind? Tanya did not have that hanging over her head. So to compare her to Tanya to me is bullshit, but a lot of people do it. So at the end of the day, it's like I got nothing from this season. I know other people who liked it too, but I do think the general consensus among the public is this is the worst season.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think Mike White shit the bed. He lost his composer who does that music. Like, dude, and then he says, "Oh, if you don't get this season, get out of my bed because I'm edging you." He said that.
Yeah.
Like, you're an
He
idiot, dude. You're
he
a
he's had
self-indulgent.
a whole lot of backtracking talk this season too, which turns me off even more. Like he has come out with, oh, well, I would have done this if I had had more time, and I would have done that. There's a whole thing about how the daughter, the
What the fuck
scene
up?
just didn't stay in there where she was supposed to have had sex with Patrick
Huh.
Schwarzenegger's character before he
Uh-oh.
left, which
Oh, I thought
is,
it was Belinda's character. That's what I read. Belinda's
oh no,
son.
no, you're right, Belinda's son. That's right. And that's dumb. I mean, we've never even seen them interact. So what's the point of that? It just makes that character look stupid. The only, like, literally for me, the only character I liked, the only character that at the end of the show that even gave a shit about was Patrick Schwarzenegger's character.
That joke.
Because he is the only one that grew to me. He is the only one. I think the dad, um, I think the dad, I just don't really see it as character growth. Like he just didn't have the stones to go through with what he was trying to do. Not that he should have, but like he just he just melted, like he just lost his mind. Um, if you get that close to poisoning your family, then you're kind of an idiot, anyways. And um, I love Parker Posey as an actress. I've always loved Parker Posey as an actress, especially as a comedic actress. She's incredible, and like she had maybe my favorite moment of the whole show,
When she
which
hugs the
is when she's
daughter.
talking to the daughter, and the daughter is like she says something like she's like I just can't do it, and
I'm
her face when
pathetic.
she knows that her daughter is exactly like her, when she knows she was 100% right about her daughter not going to this place. That was the look on her face was just that was my moment. Like that was amazing, and I think I said it in our chat, but like that resonates probably more to me as a parent because when you see your kid telling you adamantly that they're going to do this thing, and they go do this thing that you told them not to do, and then they come back and they're like, "Yeah, I shouldn't have done that." You're like, "Yeah,
And what I said as well is I feel like a lot of times, yes, it's true that there are kids who like where the parents don't get the kid. But I
hmm
think the parents who don't get their kids get them like the kids don't give them enough credit. Like they get you more than you think they do. Yeah,
yeah,
they might get
yeah,
all of you, but trust me, they changed your diapers. They watched you take your first steps. They know your personality.
yeah."
So just give them a little bit of credit. And I love how the daughter was just like, fuck,
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
shallow.
She was very disappointed that she was wrong. And it was fantastic. But I think like, Patrick Schwarzenegger's character is the one that made the most growth to me. Like after the weird thing with his brother, he was kind of broken, and he found this girl Chelsea, and she gave him something.
A
I don't know. That
book.
seems like he's never had it, and it wasn't necessarily love, but it was just caring, right? And
Yeah.
like she's like, "Here, do this thing to make yourself better." And while I think he was trying to do it to impress her a little bit, or a lot of it, but he actually got into it. Like he read this book, which is something that like everybody was shocked that he did. He did it all when he's talking to her, and then Rick shows up, and she goes running off. There's a little bit of debate out there about whether it's he was sad that she didn't love him, or is she sad that there's a love there between the two of them that he doesn't have with anybody. And I think that's more it. I think he recognized that he's never had that before, right? So it wasn't
Correct.
that he lost Chelsea because he didn't really have her. It was that he watched her be so crazy about this guy, like be so happy to see this person, and nobody's happy to see him. Like if you watch him at the very beginning, his only goal is to like meet girls. Like he's
Yep.
like, "Hey, girl," and and they're not giving him attention or whatever. But for as messed up as Chelsea is, right? Like, and I agree 100% that that was toxic as you know as all hell. She was happy to see him. Like when he came back, she was happy to see him, and no one's treated him like that in the entire show that we've ever seen. Like nobody has been happy to see him. Like they like him, like he's number one kid or whatever. But like it was just different. And I think that's what was his thing because when he gets back to the boat at the very end, he's reading again. Like he's
Yeah.
still continuing this journey that he's on. Um, what pissed me off too is like Lachlan should have just died. Because and the other thing too is like, okay, so yes, it's gross that he didn't wash the blender. Like that's gross. Like anybody that ever has made a shake has been, you don't look at it and be like, yeah, last night's shit's going to taste good this morning. You rinse that out. But there wasn't very much in there. Patrick Schwarzenegger's character drank more of the straight shake the night before than was in that blender cup that Lachlan drank. So why did Lachlan come this close to dying and Patrick Schwarzenegger didn't even get sick?
My thoughts were that the seeds were going to the bottom of the blender.
Agreed.
That's not how
That's
blenders
where,
work. As
but
somebody that,
that's what I think they
Yeah.
wanted you to
well,
believe
that's
because
dumb.
that's, but that's what
I
I think
Yeah.
what they wanted you to believe.
The
Stuff is
pure
at the
uncut
bottom.
stuff was at the bottom. Exactly. That's what
that's
I thought too.
that's not how blenders work. As somebody that bartended for 10 years, I can tell you that's not how blenders work. Um, but yeah, it was stupid to me. Like that whole thing was stupid. Either kill him or don't. Kill the whole family or don't. Like from a storytelling standpoint, it just didn't work for me. The whole thing just didn't work for me. Um, I did like the line though, because he was saying it's going to be for the family to celebrate, blah, blah, blah. He throws the thing on the ground. He's like, fuck it, we're just going to go to bed. And again, Parker Posey, she's like, we still
Wine.
have wine. She's like, we can still play because she doesn't understand what he was doing. Right.
Yeah.
So she's like, I thought we were celebrating. Let's just have more wine. And, and yeah, it was just sloppy to me. The whole thing was sloppy. Like I felt like, and I don't know, a lot of people didn't, but I felt like it was telegraphed that the dude was Rick's dad. Like I thought that from the beginning. It's just it was going to be too convenient, and I actually wish that he hadn't been. And then like what he comes back to the hotel like a moron. Dude shows up like a moron and doesn't kick him out. Like he's got to flex that he's got a gun now, and that's all he does. Like that whole thing was just stupid. It just didn't work. It was dumb. I thought Gaytok's the whole thing was stupid. He threw away everything that he has believed as a person for a girl that is not going to stay with him because that's not actually who he is. He did one tough thing, and we saw him do it one time, and that is not who he is. He will not do that again. Like just shooting one person doesn't change your entire like doesn't make you a tough guy for the rest of your life. Like I just don't think he's gonna do it. And uh she's not a good person. She only cares about this aura that she thinks he has that he doesn't have. It's like if it's like Chelsea trying to change Rick. She wants him granted, it's kind of the opposite kind of thing, but she wants to change him into somebody tough. That's not who he is. As soon as you're trying to change somebody, that relationship will not work. So he didn't
That I
improve
agree
his
with.
life. His life got worse.
But
He,
but I agree that if you, and again, I want to make sure Lauren's getting some words in as well. But like, I agree that if you go into something hoping they're going to change, you've already fucked up. But I do think it was his choice ultimately to pull the trigger. So I don't think that she changed him. I think he just, in my opinion, like, well, you know what I think, and I'll keep that like because I don't want this to end up becoming another debate. But I'll just say that I think he did what he needed to do.
yeah, I uh, I just thought it was destruction of character for the sake of destroying a character. Um, and I don't think and I don't think I don't think he was wrong for doing what he did. You know, as his job as a security guard, with that situation being what it was, um, I think he did what he should have done in that situation. But I don't think that changes him as a person. I think he would go the opposite direction. I think he would feel guilt for that. I think he would be crushed by that. And I don't think, you know, them writing it so that it's how he gets the girl is any kind of good. Because it's just it doesn't make him more of a bad like he's not going to go out and be all bloodthirsty now and go on a killing rampage to keep the girl happy, right? Like he did it because he had to in that situation, and it just I don't know. It was just pointless to me. It didn't really actually serve a purpose other than from their standpoint for him to get the girl.
Lauren, you liked it, so I want to make sure you get.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't, guys, I didn't like the season, but I liked the ending. I think there was a lot of symbolism here. I don't, just toxic couples, things don't go well when you are with the wrong person. The same thing, like you guys were saying, don't try to change people because that could end up badly too. I mean, case in point, Chelsea and Rick. I also think that with the family, I actually would have been okay if Lachlan passed away too. I think that would have been more of a lesson learned for Tim Ratcliffe about this is what you do when you try to destroy your family and can't be a man and go far. I shouldn't say be a man, but be accountable for your actions, truly. So, I mean, I think it worked out at the end where he does come forward, but like he also had to wait until they had their phones. That I had a problem with. Why didn't he just then and there before they even got on the boat, or once he found out that Lachlan was alive, or even no, even how about after they did the drink and he slapped the drink out of Saxon's hand? That should have been the moment,
Yeah.
guys. We lost it all, but we're a family and I still love you. That would have been a fine ending of its own. It had to be at the point where they're on the boat and they're getting social. I mean, you see Saxon's face. He's probably reading as
Yeah,
his
he knows.
father telling
Yeah,
him. He
yeah.
knows. So yeah, but again, this is from what Mike White said, this is inspired by a guy who lost everything and ended up killing his family, but he gave it a different ending clearly here. So, was he actually that, big of a guy for cut? Like he could have done it sooner, clearly, but he waited till literally like the last minute. They're going to probably arrive at the airport and he's going to be arrested, and his family's going to be like, "All right, I guess we're cleaning out the house now and let's go down to wherever. Uh, Sort of, I imagine it being like a Schitt's Creek type of situation, perhaps. I don't know. Like, if they were to do a
That's actually been all over
spin-off,
the place. Like that
really?
yeah, Schitt's Creek is just the follow up to
It is
that
for
family
them.
on
It is. So,
but like yeah, he's gonna go to prison for sure
he's gonna go to
for whatever's going
prison.
down. Like part of me was like, why wouldn't you tell your family while you're there and be like, hey, do you guys just not want to go home?
Or that too. Why don't they all join the monastery together or whatever? I know that ended up not being a good idea, but I don't know. But like you said, they could technically just never come home, or they definitely could have gone different direction with that. But I was okay with the death of Chelsea and
Oh
Rick.
yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
I was okay with it. I was not okay with Tanya's death.
Oh,
I was really
yeah.
disappointed in season two. I really was. I was like, what a dumb way to die. Like just so stupid. I was okay with Chelsea's death, but I also predicted it too because I'm like, look what happened with the snake. Look what happened. Like This is just another like red flag, red flag. You're not watching the red flag that's right in front of your face, and you stand where you should not be standing. You're following a guy who's going to end up getting you killed. And what happens? I literally had my mom watching it with me. She watched it earlier in the week when the thing was released. And I'm like, watch this bitch get killed. Knew it. And then, like, 2 minutes later, she's killed. I'm like, watch her get killed and he freak out and then end up either killing himself or someone ends up shooting him and someone ended up shooting him. So I called that one. I thought Lachlan was going to die from the shake, but he didn't. That was a surprise at the end. But I was okay with the ending, guys. I really thought they did a good job, and I was happy that Belinda got her money. I thought that was like a great, justice for those that are in the working class, being
Well,
able to overcome something. She made it, and she did it, and granted, not it in a way that we expected, but also like good for her son for being a good ass negotiator and pitching so well to the point where he's like, bro, it's only like 1%
yeah.
of what you have. Give it over. What means more to you, 1% or being locked up for life?
Yeah,
Pick your
that was
poison.
the other thing that I didn't like actually was Belinda, because I think a lot of people argue that she didn't become Tanya, but I would say that she did, not because she necessarily needed to take this guy with her or stay with this guy to do whatever,
Yeah,
but they had the same conversations that she had. She just made $5 million. If
right.
she gave him 1% of that, just to say, hey,
Thank
start your
you.
thing,
Sure.
invest. Just be like, hey, let's talk about starting your thing. Here's 1% of what I just made. You go do your thing. We'll partner up. We'll get a percentage, even if she doesn't go work with him. Like she could have done something to be a good person in that situation, because she knows what that situation feels like. But as soon as she got money, she was no longer the person that she was in season one who got burned. And so that was my problem with her because it's not necessarily not true. I
Hmm.
just wanted her to be a better person, and she's not. That one goes back to season one. It becomes a class thing where all of a sudden she's,
That's literally what I was going to say. So
yep,
I think what Mike White is saying is that
Things
money
can change
corrupts.
quickly.
But
yep,
I personally think money and power, in my opinion, they don't corrupt, they amplify. And I think that that's the difference. I think if you're a
yeah,
good person, um, power will amplify whatever is good. If you're bad, it's Captain America all over again.
yeah,
That's what I truly believe. I don't think the rich are inherently evil, which is I think something that a lot of people think. I
yeah,
think it's wrong.
yeah,
I think it's more about who you are inside.
yeah.
Here's my other thought about this, guys. The conversation with, and I'm sorry, I forgot his name, the one that she slept with, that she
Porn
discussed
shy.
business plans. Corn shy?
Porn
Porn.
chai,
P
Corn
O R
shy?
N C
like the
H I.
adult films and
And
Like
the
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 and the
adult.
tea.
porn
Porn
shy.
chai.
Corn chai. Great name. So that was one conversation. I
That we
felt
saw. I mean, they
that we
spent a lot of time
saw,
together.
but they spent a lot more time talking about this plan in season one with Tanya. I thought it was well more developed of a business plan and opening up a business than what was talked about in season three. It was more just like, hey, business plan, we hook up, maybe.
Like I said,
Whereas this was like, go ahead.
my problem was it was the opportunity to do the nice thing that wouldn't hurt her because it was money that she didn't have anyways.
If she
She,
was truly a good person, she just would have turned Greg in. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you going to benefit off of,
but you can't turn Greg in because you have to prove that he did anything. There's no point in turning him in.
no,
How
no,
much
no.
did
There
the
is a point
son?
because he was wanted for questioning.
He's
So if he
wanted for
told the,
questioning, but
yeah,
that's
no, yeah, they could have. That's
Yeah,
why he's staying in Thailand. If the feds or
I get
whoever get
that.
a hold of him, they
yeah,
will be able to connect him. They'll figure it.
correct.
That's why he's staying out. So I'm
Yeah,
saying if she was truly a good person, she'd be like, fuck the money. I'm gonna do this for Tanya. But no, she's self-interested. She even played at first she wasn't down with this negotiation thing, but once she realized it was going somewhere,
She walked
she played
away.
I
along.
actually loved that moment because when she
Yeah.
got up, I was like, dude, she better be playing it. Like I actually thought she was. They took an extra second, and then I
Yeah,
was like, maybe she really is bailing. But then like she did it. I was
I
like,
thought
okay,
she, I'll be honest, I thought she was bailing. So when she actually
yeah.
was doing it, I was like, okay, now,
It's wise.
and then she's all looking at her phone, like, like waiting for
Actually,
it.
to be fair, I'm not sure if I thought that she was playing him, but I thought it was a good way to play him. Right? If she walks out of the room, then I was like, maybe the sun will go back. I don't remember if I thought she was actually doing it or if it was just a good way to do it. But yeah, it that worked out well. And I just think I think I wanted her to be a better person than she was
Yeah.
because I just think she could have seen herself in this guy and known exactly where he was and just been like, hey, I just had a windfall. Nobody helped me when I was in your situation. Let me help you when you're in this situation. And then I'm leaving. We can stay in touch. We can not stay in touch, whatever.
Yeah.
And again, if she had no money that morning and then she had $5 million that afternoon, if she gives away 50 grand, that was money she didn't have. Like she didn't lose anything in that case. So, yeah, it just, I don't know. It disappointed me in
Fair.
her. I thought she was better than that.
Yeah.
The way they've always built her character up, I thought she was better than that.
She
Agreed.
slept with him once and like they had maybe one conversation. I don't think that personally, I don't know. I don't think that warrants like business partner for life. I'm sorry. Like it was too
I'm not.
underdeveloped of a
I'm not saying business partner. I'm just saying a person in the same
Phone, phone.
situation.
fine. Give him a
Yeah,
donation.
exactly.
Sure.
Exactly. Just because, like, again, if the argument was that 5 million is 1% of
Sure.
what this guy had, why couldn't
What's
she give
1% of
1% and
hers?
walk away?
Yeah. Pay
And
it forward.
the energy wasn't hookup. The energy was,
She liked him.
Yeah.
no, I think he liked her.
Yeah. I think
Okay,
both.
he
Yeah.
liked her.
The energy was he liked her, and I think she was just like, wow, okay, cool,
Yeah.
basic.
Yeah, like happy
Yeah.
surprise. Yeah, I didn't expect this. Yeah. How much of it do you think she was influenced by her son, though? Like, do you think she would have, if her son was not there, do you think she would have just taken the
No, I
hundred
actually
thousand
don't think she would have
dollars?
taken the money. I don't think she would have taken the money if her son wasn't there. And I don't necessarily think her son is bad for what he did.
No, he's
No.
opportunistic.
He
True.
played it right.
And he's
You
looking
know,
out for his mom and the family and stuff.
Yeah.
But does that make her, I don't know. I don't see her as a bad person.
I don't think she's a bad person. I
I
just wanted her
People
to
don't
be a
thought she
better
was
person.
gooder than
Yeah,
she actually
yeah.
than
turned
I
she
out.
just wanted her to
was.
be a better person because that was like we felt so bad for her, and now I don't feel bad for her in season one.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, fuck you. you know,
So
like,
that's yet another reason for me not to like season three. You undid some
yeah,
of the beauty of season one.
yeah.
F you, Mike.
No,
Sorry, Mike.
I
I didn't
thought
mean that. I didn't mean that.
you don't think it's like a good success story, Andrew, of someone who was done
She
wrong and then was
she
able to
didn't
get
succeed at
everything worth.
anything. Like,
No,
I think it's a good karma thing.
no,
Like
she
you
do. She
karma.
had a come up. I don't. I consider it blood money. I do. I
mhm.
don't think. I don't think it's karma. I think it's blood money. But on a material standpoint, she came up. But I think at the end of the day, yeah, no, I don't think that was like karmic for me. Anything. It was just right place, right time, played your cards right. That's all that
Yeah,
happened.
yeah,
Because at first she was like, "Oh my God, he killed Tanya, my friend," and then by the end of it, he's like, "Okay, I'll be cool with just like keeping your secret, but just throw me a little something, you know."
yeah.
Yeah, like
That's
is
all
she
that
really
was.
your friend? I don't know her
No,
$5 million.
no.
Yeah. It's I think it also goes to show like who is actually really your friend and maybe her just really considering like the ethics behind her friendship or the reality of the situation where Tanya was just using her in the first
Correct. She
place.
wasn't a
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
She was just an emotional tampon. Sorry, that's what I call that when someone is using you. You're literally just bleeding all your shit over the other person. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah. But
All
I
right.
don't know,
Well,
guys. I was pleased with the ending.
all right. Well, we all agree that it was a bad show and a bad season and a bad ending. Uh, no, I think it is divisive. I do feel like, generally speaking, the consensus was that the season was not as good. There are certainly people, Lauren included, that liked it and liked it more, and I have seen that out there for sure.
You too.
But
Good
I
point.
but I do think the general consensus is this one was not as good. Um, and I think the larger consensus, especially, is that the majority of the season from beginning to finale was not good. I've seen more people okay with the finale than necessarily like the entire season. So, yeah, definitely some mileage will vary, but
What
I
was the
don't know many people that love
final
this.
rating? Because remember we were
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
in the beginning of this, Kevin, that everything was rated like
yeah,
seven
it was
stars.
actually pretty
D-
much the same across the board. Let me see here.
So at the beginning of this, Andrew, just so you know, and you probably were part of the preliminary conversations, but from what Kevin and I gathered, or really what Kevin gathered and shared, is that there was a very similar pattern with just how the ratings were for all three seasons for where it started. I'm curious if the ending is also similar
Well,
as well.
it's funny. The White Lotus season three is 78% audience, 86% critics. Another thing that I personally noticed was season one was only 6 episodes.
Yes, it was shorter.
Two
True.
was 7 episodes. And I think this one was 8 or 9.
Eight.
Eight?
Well,
Okay, yeah.
a very long eighth episode.
Yeah, it
Hmm.
was like basically a movie. So I don't know. I feel like way more
Right.
happened in the previous seasons than this one. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just yeah, I hate it.
Yeah, when I really like thought about the episodes, I felt like there was a lot of like kind of like dead air. Like stuff was just there, but nothing was happening. And I don't know if it was art for art's sake or what it was. It just wasn't,
Hmm.
it didn't feel like they were working as hard as the other ones. And then, Mike White's answer always was, "You're just
Have
not
you
reading
noticed
between the lines."
that
And I'm
no
like,
one's talked about Carrie Coon and her friends in this whole conversation? I poo-pooed it. You guys defended it sort of by saying it was real, but meanwhile, yet you don't mention it.
I
Meanwhile,
just
it's like
know
that was
that,
like a big chunk of the
yeah.
story, but it was whack.
It wasn't really impactful
It
with
made no
how it
difference because
ended.
they ended exactly where they
Correct.
started. You
Correct.
could have left them out, and whole season would have been the same.
Well,
I don't
I
know
think
that you necessarily needed a conflict between them. Like they were always conflict, and I think if you made them too happy at the end, it would have been
Hmm.
corny because one vacation together when you've been friends since you were kids, basically, like they've known each other their entire lives, they're not going to change when they leave. So, like, just from a storytelling standpoint, it's just a waste of time.
yeah,
It's a storyline that didn't need to be there. I think,
correct.
like I said, it's real, but it's just
But so are dog attacks. Don't Does people want to watch a show about dog attacks?
yeah, it
What
just
else is real? Is like diarrhea is real. People want to watch diarrhea. Like just because it's real doesn't mean it's compelling storytelling, you know?
yeah,
So I yeah, I'm comparing them to diarrhea.
yeah. It's just like I said, it is real. Like that whole it almost would have been fine if it was three characters that were a part of one episode where you saw them do this thing in different like montages throughout the episode. So you got the point of what he was saying and didn't build an entire storyline around it.
Yeah, with some
Um,
Russian dudes.
yeah, yeah. And it didn't really add anything to the Russian guy's story. Like even though like that's where they tied it, so it was kind of wasted, and it was um, a waste of talent too. Like like I said, Carrie Coon's like delivery of the speech she had was very good. She is a really good actress. Um, it just it just didn't need to be there.
Right.
Um, so
Shall we move on?
yeah, yeah. So moving on to things that are not great. And since Lauren's
Oh,
here, not here, and I'm sure she doesn't care,
oh
I
God.
watched the Minecraft movie last weekend with my kids. So the story is that my kids saw the first trailer for this, and in their most appropriate way possible, said, "Oh fuck no." They had no interest in this movie. Like they were like, "Nah, this looks like hot turd," and I was like, "Cool, we won't see it." And then there started to be a little buzz around it. And again, so I talk a lot about marketing and how it can make or break a movie. Well, they marketed this to the right people in the right way. And there was tons of, memeable moments, TikTok, all those things, um, around, around this show. And so all of a sudden, all these kids that grew up on Minecraft, Minecraft came out in 2011. It's been out for a long time. It's still one of the most played games on the planet. It gets updates regularly, like it is growing, changing all the time. And my kids play it. My kids still play it. They played it when they were young. Um, Unlike something like Roblox or Fortnite, it's a less toxic game. You don't necessarily interact with other people unless you know them in most cases. You can set up ways to meet up with your friends and play together, but otherwise, it's not largely social where you can just bump into anybody on the planet at any given time. Um, and so it started to draw people in, and I was sitting there, I think it was last Sunday. Um, I was sitting there with my son, and he was like, "Yeah, I kind of want to see it." And I was like, you know what, dude, I'll see it with you. And then I was like, well, we got to ask your brother. So I asked one of his brothers, and he's like, yeah, I guess I'll see it. Then I asked the one, he's like, yeah, I'll go see it. I was like, what the shit just happened? And so, like, I didn't even realize because I started to see the buzz around it by Sunday and how great it was doing. Like, it blew up at the box office. To be fair, it blew up again this week at the box office, another 80 million US. It's over 280 million, I think, worldwide, US. I think worldwide it's well over 300 something million. So it's killing it. And so I went to get tickets. Everywhere was sold out. There, everywhere, like, or at least for four people. Like every theater I tried to find, I couldn't find four tickets together. So I ended up having to go see this thing in IMAX. I haven't spent that much money on movie tickets in like 10 years. And so I was like, okay. So we go to this movie. And it opens up and it is frenetic right out of the gate. It's Jack Black telling the story of like it almost could have been a whole other movie that they told in like 10 minutes. It's how he was a dude just living in working in a crap job, wanted to make something else, found this thing, it opened up a portal, he fell into Minecraft world, started building up his world. That was this whole thing. Then he ended up falling out with the bad guys in that world. Um, and then now we're here. The like the key that he had that got him in there gets taken away. Cut to Jason Momoa's character, who was a video game prodigy when he was a kid. He is a complete loser who runs a little washed up video game shop, and he's like an 80s wannabe rock star kind of guy. Yeah. And so the whole movie is he falls in with these two teenage kids in this really bizarre town. Like even the real world in this movie is not believable or isn't realistic. Like it's so bizarre. And then they get sucked into this world, and then it's a whole big thing. Tasty from Orange is the New Black is in it. She has a real name that I don't know off my head. But like her character was corny. Like this is not the direction I wanted to see her career go after Orange is the New Black. Um, Not that, it was necessarily a terrible thing to do. Like it gets you in front of people. Um, but like this movie is so bizarre because it is not a good movie. Like it is cheesy, it's corny, it's dumb. But and it changes a lot of stuff that is generally Minecraft. So like a lot of people that were like, oh, well, that's not how this works, blah, blah, blah. They got over it because it was so like memeable, if that's a word. Like that just became a thing about this movie. There was a whole thing where like an entire theater worth of teenagers got kicked out for making a TikTok reel or a TikTok video during a scene in the movie where Jack Black says chicken jockey, and they all lose their shit. They're throwing their popcorn around. There's literally like they stop the movie, security comes in and drags these kids out, and it was a ton of kids. Like one of my sons is a little more susceptible to that kind of dumb stuff than my other two. I had to tell him over and over. I was like, if you do anything stupid during this movie, I will strangle you. And I was like, this will be the last thing you ever do. I was like, do not ruin this movie for other people. Like that was my only thing. Like to me, that's just rude. We talked about it with Wicked. Like if you want to go see Wicked and sing along, you better find tickets to one of the showings that is designed for that. Do not do that to other people that paid their way into this to watch the movie. And so, we got through this movie. The thing is, like, it was not good, but it was fun. And I think that's why it works so well. I don't know Minecraft very well, so I'm watching it. I don't know all the ins and outs. My kids are watching the ins and outs. They're getting it. I look at my youngest, and he's like almost embarrassed watching the whole movie. Like he's just like, "Oh, this is so bad. It's so bad." We get out. He's like, "That was so bad." The next day, he's like, "Yeah, I think I need to see that again." I was like, "What? What the hell?" Like it's a weird movie because it was made for a very specific audience. So I feel like if you didn't play Minecraft when you were young, or if you don't have kids that play Minecraft, this movie's not for you. Like I would legitimately not recommend it to either of you. When it comes out on streaming, I would say watch it just to see what the hype was about. See if you can like pick out the moments that made this thing work the way that it did. But it's like it's not targeted to us. I mean, it's targeted to me because I've got kids, like as a parent, to take them. But Andy was entertaining enough, but it was not good. And I think when you look at IMDb, it's a 6, and
Rotten Tomatoes. Did you see that?
a huge, huge skew. So it's
You're
46 from
with
the critics, who I agree with. They
yes,
are right. It's not a good movie. But I also agree with the audience at the 86, which is weird
87 now.
because if it's made for an audience and that audience goes, then they're going to love it. And I think it is. It's a very strange movie because it's just um, and it's rolling. I think it helps that it's one of the only like really family movies out there right now in the theaters. So that's helping it make money. Like they timed it well, they advertised it well. They bounced back from initial trailers that people were walking away from and like, no way this is going to be any kind of good. In the initial trailers, nobody wanted to watch it, and they just kind of kept moving at their own pace. And again, one of the things that they did is they cast all of the Minecraft streamers in the movie.
Or
So that gets them hyping up this movie. So all the little kids that follow all these, you know, yeah,
influencers.
these influencers, the kids want to see it, and it worked. It worked for a second weekend. Like I told my kids, I was like, part of me expected it to fall off the second weekend because the audience that it was targeted for all saw it last week. How are they going to go see it again? But they found a way. Not as much, as it wasn't 200 million. It was only 80 million, but that's still pretty friggin' good for a second
80 million.
weekend.
Yeah, it's
Um,
I think it's the third highest grossing movie of the year so far,
yes, and it's the highest grossing video game movie of all time,
right?
um, which uh, it passed Jack Black's last video game movie, which was Super Mario Brothers, the animated Super Mario Brothers. Um,
Jack Black has a genre between Shumanji, Mario Brothers, now this. That's his jam.
yeah, I mean, Jack Black is always it's like Adam Sandler. Jack Black is always going to be Jack Black. Um, and either you can try and corral that and make something like School of Rock, where you draw him in a little bit, you still let him be Jack Black, and then you do all the rest of the movie touching, or you do something like Nacho Libre, where he's crazy in Jack Black, and then he works as long as you put him in the right situation. I thought Jason Momoa actually worked in this, even though I think most of the time when he does comedy, he goes too far. This movie, it was okay for him to do that because the whole damn movie is
One
too
thing.
far. Um, I
There's a White Lotus connection here. I'm looking
ooh
at the cast. It says Jennifer Coolidge as Vice Principal
oh
Yes.
Marlene.
yes, 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 yes. That was so fucking weird and pointless. That whole scene just didn't make any sense. Even my kids were like, "Why was that in there?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. I don't." It was really weird. Um, but again, like it was fun. It has a post-credit scene, sets up a second movie. At this point, I assume they're going to make a second one.
They have to.
You don't make this much money and not. The kids were okay. The boy, he could have been played by anybody. This girl's kind of up and coming. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I'll put it in there, but the daughter, or the sister,
Emma
um,
Myers.
what is it?
Is it Emma Myers? Is she Natalie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She just came off of a show on Netflix that was like hugely popular. like a murder mystery
She
kind
was
of
in
show.
she was in Wednesday.
A Girl's Guide to
Yes,
Murder, and
yes,
she was the ENFP.
She
Sorry.
played the roommate,
yep.
Yep.
And
Enid.
what was the one you said, Andrew, too? The other one?
A Girl's Guide to Murder.
Yes, yeah, that was
A
really
good
popular
Girl's
too.
Guide to
Good
Murder.
Girl's
Yeah.
Guide to Murder.
Good for
So
her.
she's doing well, and I think like for her, she's pretty talented. So I think she's got a pretty upward trajectory right now. So yeah, there's certainly upside to this movie if you've got kids or like I said, if you played Minecraft, if you know, I don't care if you're 50, if you started playing Minecraft in the beginning and you enjoyed it, and you still play and love it, there's stuff in there for you for sure. Um, and yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was not good, but I walked out of it laughing. My kids still talk about it. I think if I asked them if they wanted to go see it again, at least two of them would go. So whatever is in the Minecraft movie Kool-Aid. Sorry, it's a Minecraft movie, not the
Yeah.
Minecraft movie, and that's a very
Smart.
smart distinction in your title because it
Yep.
says this is just taking place in because Minecraft is worlds created by the people. There is no Minecraft world. You literally go and build whatever you want, do whatever you want. It's a complete sandbox. And if you say the Minecraft movie, that says this is the story for the thing. When you say a Minecraft movie, it's cool. Like the next movie could very well be called another Minecraft movie, and it'd be fine. So
How much about Minecraft do you need to know in order to be prepared for this film? Or could you go in knowing absolutely nothing?
if you know that Minecraft is about creation, like the more you know, I think the better it works. Like,
Okay.
because there's all these little things, and I've watched my kids, so I know enough of it.
Hmm.
But like, you start off and you can dig up dirt and rocks, and you can turn those into things. You can chop down trees, that becomes lumber. You can build things with that. There's all these little things that are very basic. There's
Hmm.
at least when you start the game and you're playing in like a creativity mode, there's no combat. It's not a fighting game. It's nothing like that. It's just
Right.
creativity. It's just creativity across the board. Um, you can find certain things that you can then use. You can
Hmm.
build a crafting table, and then you can take these things and put them together and build something better. So now you have a better pickaxe to go get better things with, and you kind of start to build that up. And honestly, if you know that, you're fine. They hand you everything else you need to know.
Sounds like
Um,
The Sims a bit, maybe like not as in depth as The Sims, but
Certainly not as complicated. It's more
yeah,
about the world than the people. Like The Sims, you are literally building people and watching those people interact. When
right.
you play Minecraft, you're literally building a world to just dick around in. Like there are people that have taken the time to build actual like real world cities in Minecraft. So people have
Mm.
built like New York City in Minecraft, and you can walk around New York City built to scale in Minecraft. The amount of time that it takes to do it is insane. They've done
Probably
it
years.
for
Yeah.
Star Wars. They've done it like the Death Star. There's all of these things have been created in Minecraft because you have the freedom to do that.
And it's everything square, like, is
Everything is
everything
little
cube
square
like?
blocks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I knew. I'm like, it's the game with all the cubes.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they kind of, they make jokes about that. Even all the creatures in the game are little cubes.
Cubes.
So
Yeah.
like the first thing they meet when they show up is this little like rectangular pink goat or sheep. And
Mm,
like it's it is funny and it is, creative, which is exactly what it's supposed to be. So,
yeah.
you know, kudos to them for making this movie and making it work because it really almost shouldn't have. And yet here we are, and it's gonna have a hell of a year.
Nice.
So, all right, cool. Well, I've talked enough. We can move on from what I've got to say. And you just watched the Ballad of Wallis Island.
I did. I went
I'm
on
very curious about this one.
Tuesday to see this film, and I was watching the trailers about a week or two ago and noticed that it received over a 95%. It's currently at a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics. The audience score was also quite high as well at an 89%. It's definitely feels like a very low budget film. It takes place pretty much in this island like outside of the UK, And it's about two former band members that are brought together by this millionaire who lives on this island called Wallis Island, who is a mega fan of their band that was called McGregor Mortimer. And these two bandmates were formerly in a relationship and worked together, performed together. And the actor who plays Herb, who's the male, who's pretty much the main character here, I haven't seen him before, but I know he's been in some things. His name is Tom Basden. He plays Herb McGuire, and then Carrie Mulligan is his former bandmate who he sees for the first time in 9 years, and she plays Nell Mortimer, and their last names make up the band McGuire Mortimer. And this guy, this like very eccentric, quirky guy named Charles, just brings him to the island and gives Herb and lets him know like, hey, I'm going to give you, I believe it was like $500,000, if you do this performance on Wallis Island. And he comes in like by by boat, by it's like one of those machine operated like small boats. Like it's not even like a full, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's not like if you're going on a ferry, or like it's not even a ferry, it's just someone that has like a motorboat basically taking you to this island. That's how low budget this is, and like very few people live on this island. And the only people that you really see on the island are like maybe two or three people, and then the woman who works at the general store, Kevin, is that plays the sister in Fleabag.
Okay.
I think her name's Sion Clifford. So she's on the island, and this millionaire is just so excited that he gets to bring together McGuire and Mortimer, since it's been a very long time since they have seen each other, and he's going to have them perform on the beach. And Herb McGuire, who's the main character, is, looking forward to getting this money because he's further along in his career and has lost money really since him and Nell Mortimer split up. So he's just trying to reinvent himself musically, and he's got into like a different type of genre since he and his former bandmate split, and he's just not making a lot of money. So his, I guess, agent says definitely take this money. This will go towards the new album, recording, etc. And he finally sees Nell for the first time, and you could tell like he still has feelings for her, and she's married to someone else at this point, so she arrives with her husband. And of course it brings back a lot of memories for them. But the funny thing about this all is that this millionaire, you think, oh, he's just going to bring everyone from the island. And initially he tells Herb, yeah, it's gonna be about like 100 people who's gonna be at this concert on the beach. And then he shows them like the beach, and he's like, oh, okay, how, like, what is the exact amount of people? He's like, it's gonna be like less than 100. He's like, so what are we talking, like 80, 90? He's like, one. So he basically pays this guy $500,000 to just perform on the beach for him alone. That's how much he loves their band and playing their music. And you come to find out this millionaire lost his wife 5 years prior, and they both were fans of McGuire Mortimer, so much so that like that was their thing, listening to their music. And this is like a way of celebrating her life 5 years after she passed. So he purposely planned the concert on the anniversary of when she passed. So it's a very beautiful story. It explores past love, being able to engage in things that make you happy from the past, but also you learn that just because things were good in the past doesn't mean you get to continue something. You can definitely stay with those memories, but that's not going to change the fact that you guys split up years prior. So yeah, and then hearing them sing together was very beautiful. The music is great. A lot of laughter throughout the film. Just so many funny moments between just how eccentric and quirky this random millionaire is. Like he doesn't have any friends. All he does is go to the general store. He's got this big house on this island. He's got a tennis court. And it's so funny. One scene he's playing tennis against Herb because Herb and Nell end up staying at his house. They don't stay in a hotel, they stay at his house. He's got a big house with multiple rooms, etc., and he cooks for them every night. So it's almost like they're having like an experience where they're staying at like an inn or something like that, but it's at this guy's house who's going to be paying them this money to perform. And yeah, it's really sweet. But at one point he's like, Herb, come play tennis with me. And he plays tennis against Charles, the millionaire. And Charles beats him so bad initially when he's serving, but then when it comes to returning, he doesn't know how to return the ball because you've come to find that this guy has been playing tennis, but all he knows how to do is serve the ball because he's just been serving
by
for
himself.
years and years with exactly by himself. So that's hysterical. But yeah, I thought it was a very heartfelt film and I encourage more people to see it. I think it's a good watch, and there's definitely I think it needs to get more, circulation out there, and more people need to see it for sure.
It looks like it's billed as a comedy. I mean, would you consider it a
Yeah.
comedy pretty much?
Oh,
Like it was
definitely
pretty funny?
comedy, but it gives you all
Heartfelt?
the
Yeah.
heartfelt feels as well, for sure. And I think people that are into music or have been a part of a band probably can resonate with this film too, and just that feeling of when you were at the peak of your career, when you were making good music with fellow bandmates, etc. Unfortunately, I can't relate to this type of stuff, but yeah, the music itself was beautiful. Their songs were very much so inspired by, I think, their feelings for one another, given that they were in a relationship at some point when they were in the band together. And granted, it's just the two of them. He plays the guitar and then they both sing. And the fact that this man loved these two people so much and their music that he is taking his like a large portion of money just to get them to an island to perform for him alone.
Yeah. It also looks like, I mean, I can just watch the trailer without sound right now
Yeah,
because we're recording, but it
sure.
looks like it even has a very British look to it. Like this is British comedy, I
Yeah.
would assume, right? Okay.
Uh, yes and no. I didn't really get like, oh, this is a very British comedy type of feel. And I mean, I've seen like quite a few, as you know, like Bridget Jones is one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
Uh, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a British comedy per se in terms of just the humor in it. I thought it was funny in general, but also just heartfelt as well.
Hmm.
It's a good, solid, like all around film. I think that many people would enjoy watching it.
Yeah, I like the sound of it. It sounds like
It's light
just
too.
yeah, just a light like comedy that has heart and is going to do, isn't going to be anything more than it needs to be. I think it's going to be exactly what it's supposed to be. So, cool.
Exactly. So I hope more people get to see it. I feel like it wasn't something like I didn't even know about it until I went on AMC and then I read up on it and watched the trailer. I'm like, this looks great. And then I ended up seeing it with two girls and all three of us really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
I'm
love
actually
Carey
really interested
Mulligan
about it. I hope it comes to streaming soon because I'm not going to make it to the theater to see it.
for
Um,
sure.
but I would definitely like if I remember and I see it pop up, it sounds good enough to spend some time watching. So,
100%.
all
How
right.
about you, Andrew? What do you think?
About
He's like, I'm gonna pass. Is this something that you would see?
probably not. Just
It,
because like I'm not really, and it's no secret, I'm not really into the light stuff or the comedy stuff. I'm more into, you know, I'm just not.
yeah.
Not
Yeah.
his thing.
Well, that's actually a solid segue because Andrew's into the dark shit and Black Mirror just came out.
Damn it.
So, did you only watch the first episode?
Only the first episode,
Sweet,
man.
so did I. I kept up on that um, so that we could talk about it. But this is your show more than mine. So what did you think of the first episode of this season?
Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. It goes back to, I would say, the bleaker, more serious tone of season three and season four of Black Mirror, even down to the appearance of this song, which some people have called the national anthem of Black Mirror. And it's called oh my God, what I didn't post, but it's a song that keeps showing up in Black Mirror, and it showed up again at the end where they had their like their anniversary. But anyway, um, I will say this. So my girlfriend, she actually said like after she was done with it, she literally had to be like, okay, I need a palate cleanser. I
Hmm.
need to like just because that was just super dark. And I just loved, I'll just start with this. I love the performances. First of all, Rashida Jones, I know she's a big deal. I know that she's in like, some sitcoms and stuff and like that I don't really know about, but you guys definitely know what they are.
Yeah.
But this was like, okay, like you acted your ass off in this episode. Like so much, like every scene, and then the guy, her husband is the cop from Bridesmaids. So he's just like he's Irish or some shit.
He's
Anyway,
hilarious. He is
yeah.
so funny.
But this was not a comedy at all. Like this was a
No.
very serious like situation. I guess I can go to the plot a little bit.
Yeah.
Basically, okay, so they're a married couple. She's a teacher. He is a construction worker or works on construction. And basically she has this brain disorder where like basically she's teaching class and then she has this like almost like a stroke or something. No, it was a tumor. It was a
It was
tumor on her
tumor. Yeah.
brain. And basically she was going to die. And this like company shows up. What was it called again? Like not like Lumen, but it's something like
Oh,
that.
something
Uh,
ring or ring something.
In the at the hospital, Rivermind shows up.
River mind. Okay.
Rivermind basically is this company that can like copy your consciousness, upload it to a server, and then kind of feed you your consciousness like through your brain. But the problem is it's a subscription service. So, you have to pay like 300 bucks a month just to like keep the person alive. It's like a cell phone too, where there's certain ranges that you can travel. If you travel outside the range, she conks out. Anyway, but he had to do this because she was going to die.
Yep.
She's brought back to life. But then it turns out that while she's like just living her life, all of a sudden she starts like spewing ads. Like she'll talk about this coffee brand or she'll talk about whatever. And this is like the corruption of like this great technology that is saving lives, but they're monetizing it like in every way, shape, or form. And
Yep.
then in order to get rid of the ads, go ad free, you got to get Rivermind Plus. And Rivermind Plus is 800 bucks or 500 bucks. No, yeah,
It's
800 bucks.
500 bucks
No,
more. So it was, yeah.
no, I
It was
think it was 800 on top of the 300. No, yeah, 500 on top of the 300 to
on
make
top
it
of the video.
800.
Yeah.
Yes. So then they had to do that. And then he drives her, even before it happens, though, he drives her to like the place where they have their anniversary. And apparently it's out of range now because of like the Rivermind Plus
Because they're
up.
on they're on the lower plan, which
Yeah.
as far as they knew was just a plan. And then all of a sudden, when they introduce Rivermind Plus, they start to call the one that they're on Rivermind Common.
Yes,
So
Rivermind.
it makes it sound shitty,
and
right? So
and
if
they
you're using that,
yeah,
you're
and they
poor.
keep on just upping and upping and upping, and it's basically they go from a couple that just try, and then basically like she loses her job, and then there's this like is it like dumb people or something like that, dummy.
Yeah,
Anyway,
dumb dummies or something like that. Yeah.
there's a website where people will bid the people on there to do stupid things just to like pay money, and this guy's got to do that just to supplement make enough money to like keep this going. So in any event, the episode's going. There's definitely tension in the house now because like he's having to work more. She can't work anymore because she's more and more tired because they literally put these people in sleep mode in order to get energy from them to power the grid of Rivermind. Mind you, Rivermind is also being used. There's like a Rivermind Ultra or Lux, Rivermind Lux,
Hmm.
where it's super, super expensive. Only the rich obviously can afford it, but you're able to turn up your sensations like pleasure, like all these things. You could even like pull knowledge, like
From
parkour,
other
for
people. Yeah.
example, from other people. So all of a sudden you can now do all that stuff. It's like it's cool technology because it's obviously in the cloud, but of course, instead of doing things for the common good, they do it for profit. I'm not going to spoil the ending because I just think people need to watch it. But let me just say that the way it ends was, in all honesty, I think the only way it could have ended, and it was just chilling and
Hmm.
haunting, and it just leaves you like, damn. And that to me is what Black Mirror is supposed to do. It's supposed to leave you like, damn.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really good the whole way through. And like you said, Rashida Jones does an amazing job. She is known for comedy. Yeah, she was in The Office, and then she was in Parks and Rec. She has a show. It's called Angie something or other, where she's a cop, and that show is ridiculous. Like that is comedy, like over the top comedy, where it's just almost too much. Um, but she's funny. Like that's her thing. Um, and I've always said, I think if you're a great comedic actor, you can be a better dramatic actor than the other way around. Um, and she showed it. I mean, she is good in this, and especially at the very end, like when she is, she is where she's at.
I'm ready.
I think, yeah, I think it's so good, and it's a
Worth its
trip
time.
because you watch this show and you watch or this episode and you watch Severance and you watch Pantheon on Netflix, which is about people uploading their consciousness to a machine instead of dying, right?
Mhm.
Um, it you know, this is definitely like a subject that is sort of on people's minds right now, obviously. If you've got three different shows that are kind of doing the same thing, um, it's really interesting to see that it's, I feel like when science fiction starts to get, all start to agree on something, that thing is maybe around the corner, you know? Um, and so, yeah, it's just really good because one thing that I think is cool about something like this too is it's science fiction, right? But it doesn't feel like science fiction. Like it's not punching you in the face with over the top details. It's not crazy like something like uh, what's the one that I didn't like that you liked at first, and then we've talked about it a couple of times. The
Braveheart.
Ridley Scott one, yeah, like that's science fiction, but it's super heady. And while this is incredibly smart, you don't have to understand the science behind it for it to work. They
At
they
all.
very briefly explain to you the science behind it, and then what you're really left with is the limitations of it. And knowing that, yeah, if you cross the boundary, you can't do this anymore. But it's also a really good look at people um, that, like Andrew said, are using something that you need in a way to take advantage of you, right? To monetize this thing because they leave out all the details, right? So when they started, they're like, "Oh yeah, but we're building more areas for you, across the country. So this is going to be available in more and more places." Well, when they come to find out they can't even go to the place that they got married, they're like, "Well, you told us you were building more places," and they're like, "Yeah, we are. If you want to use them, you have to pay more money." And then they're like, "Oh, yeah, well, we were trying to have a kid." She's like, "Oh, well, if you're trying to have a kid, that costs more money because the brain does more when you're pregnant." And like, I mean, it is just like shady on shady on shady. And just like a drug, like they started you in the beginning, they're like, "Well, it's cheaper than you think. It's cheaper than you think, and we'll pay
Surgery's
for the
free.
surgery. Yeah, we'll pay for the surgery." And I mean, it is a brilliant take on just taking advantage of people.
Chris O'Dowd, Rashida
Yeah,
Jones,
Crystal Death.
Tracy Ellis Ross. So Tracy Ellis Ross, she played that role so well. I've never seen her as unlikable in anything I've seen
Hmm.
her until this.
Yeah,
Holy crap. You hate her. There's
yeah.
only one scene where you actually get some sympathy. And of course, understandably, the husband, Chris O'Dowd, like has a bit of a flip out in her office and she's flustered and she has to go to her phone
Hmm.
to turn up like the composure or whatever it was because she is
Nonchalance.
in nonchalance, thank you, because she is like severed, if you will, to like
Yeah.
she is she almost died too, and she has this technology, but she's peddling it to other people. It's almost like a timeshare. It's like you get suckered into something, and then there's
Yeah.
all these like
Extra
things.
fees and
Yeah. And again, if you're a watcher of all pop no culture, you know that your boy Andrew almost got suckered in, but I canceled. Anyway, um,
I do
but
remember
I,
that.
I cannot. I hear this whole season's great. We know USS Callister, the sequel's in
Yep.
here with
Yep.
Kristen
I think it's the last
Milotti.
one.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna like savor this. But and apparently I Googled, people are saying, do not watch common people like first, and I'm just kind of like, not to be mean, but I'm like, are people that weak? Like, come on, guys. Like it's dark, but like it's
Well,
okay.
I was just telling my wife, she's like, "Can I watch Black Mirror?" Because she's a little sensitive about stuff. And I was like, "Look, don't watch the very first episode.
Oh, you said
Yeah, I was like,
that?
don't watch the pig fucker episode. After that, you're fine, but just like that one because it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's Dark Mirror, but it's so like
Yeah,
different than
dude.
everything
It
else that
goes
Dark
there.
Mirror is. Like it's a little extra, right? Like it's just more than pretty much any other episode is. And
What's the
so
name of of the
Common
episode?
people.
Common
Common
People.
people.
I think
And
I'm
that
gonna like
last
that.
season was, I mean, that last season, that last
Ep
scene,
okay.
like it was
oh
just like it was heart-wrenching.
well, and
But
Yeah.
then did
like I'm getting chills. Heart-wrenching, but like what else are we gonna do?
well,
Yeah.
and did you see what he had in his hand when he was going into the
Yes.
office? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like there's an implication that there's one more.
She said do it when,
Yeah.
so that's how so
Yeah.
it's like I think Lauren can figure it out. But like, man, and the love that they felt for each other was really real. I actually felt like when we said it, I was like, I thought of you, and she's like, I thought of you, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's the whole thing was chef's kiss.
Well,
Really.
and then the one time that they really fight is the time that they cross the line and she passes out, right? Like that's their only like real blow up. I also like the fact that with the crib when the dude was like, "Yeah, we're just gonna light it on fire," like it's like shit. Like it's just like these people's lives are just. It's just
Destroyed.
unfortunate, is what it is too, because like the brain tumor, was just there. Like it was just gonna happen.
And I forgot to mention, like, the fact that Charlie Brooker is writing this at the same time as Homeboy Luigi. And I'm not even going to say he did the right thing or the wrong thing. I'm going to leave that out. I am. But it's like Brooker, I think what makes Black Mirror work is when you can tap into what we're actually all thinking about. You talked about it earlier, Kev, with the other shows. And that's what it is. It's like literally we are being priced out of our own healthcare, our own lives. And that's what this was.
Hmm.
And it's yeah, like it's getting to the point where greed, capitalistic greed is preying on people's desire to live, which to me is literally like probably one of the most foundational drives of all life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you extinguish that, what the hell? So
Yeah. It's and like to be fair, like, that's very much a common theme of Black Mirror overall is like the whole point is you got to look in the mirror and see that dark side of the stuff that's out there already.
it's
Uh,
basically the dark side of technology.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
this was, it's like, yeah, this is a technology that maybe, like you said, might be around the corner, but then it's how humanity decides to interact with technology. Is it going to be for the better or for the worse? And for the most part, Black Mirror is like,
It's gonna be bad. Yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah, as long as people are profiting from it, it's going to end up being the worst side of it that it can be, right? Like it's money doesn't necessarily make people make bad decisions, but if you are somebody that is prone to bad decisions and you like your money too much, you're going to make decisions going to make you more money, and that is generally screws over somebody. Like it's just making money. There's a cost to making money, and if you can make it not your own cost and somebody else's cost, a lot of people will do that. I think we only have two things left. So, because ours is far less relevant to current things, I'm going to let
oh,
Lauren talk
yeah.
about Drop really quick because this is also currently in theaters.
Just came out
Stars,
on
yeah,
Friday, yesterday, the
stars
11th.
Megan Fahey from White Lotus season two.
Yes. And then watch out, Glenn Powell, because I think Brendan, I can't even pronounce his last name,
Oh
Sklinar,
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
the
becoming a big
heartthrob,
deal real
so
fast.
hot from It Ends With Us,
And he was in the Yellowstone spinoff. I think it was
1923.
1923.
Yeah, he's
And there's
gorgeous.
there's rumors that DC is circling him for Batman.
Oh,
Like,
I
Brandon's
would not
Splinter.
yeah,
object to that decision.
yeah. He is actually a very good actor. He is a handsome fella.
He is beautiful.
I don't what I don't think he is a threat to Glenn Powell. Because number one, I think he's actually more better looking than Glenn Powell, but I think they're going to take different trajectories. I think Glenn Powell is the guy that is going to do everything. Like he is just going to keep making stuff and pumping stuff. Like I still see him as the Tom Cruise successor. Like he's the
Sure.
guy that will keep just making stuff and go, go, go and
Hmm.
push his own stuff and do that. This guy I think is probably a little artsier, probably a better actor, and it will go further.
Sorry, Brandon Sklenar fires back after internet troll calls him a Walmart Glenn Powell. So it's like it's funny that this is People Magazine
Uh,
11 hours ago. So Lauren, your what's it called? Your comparison was apt, but let the
Whatever.
Yeah, I think I actually think it's a fair comparison, but I think they're different. I think he's going to go the artsier, like
Lauren.
headier way, and I think
Don't tell
Glenn
me
Powell's
who
going to
to
go the
like.
Tom
I
Cruise.
like who I like.
Yeah, he's awesome. Like I actually really like him. I watched 1923, and he was
Yeah.
even in 1923. I think that's the one with Harrison Ford,
Okay.
and he's
Yeah.
great. But I think other than Harrison Ford and his wife, whose name escapes me, and she's amazing. But
Yeah,
other than them,
from the
he was the
Buck.
best part of 1923.
Yeah.
Anyways, drop.
Drop. So this takes place in Chicago, and it's about a woman who goes on a first date with a guy she's been talking to for a few months on a dating app. And you find out at the beginning of the film, she is a single mom and her husband passed away. You don't know how, you find out later, and she's got a 5-year-old son. And at the beginning of the film, her sister comes over and she's hesitant to go on the date. She's like, no, you got to put yourself out there. It's been, you know, 5 years since you've put yourself out there. It's time. So she convinces her to go out on the date. And her character, Megan Foggy, is that how you
Fahey,
pronounce it?
just
Fahey?
Fahey. Yeah.
Fahey. She plays Violet. And Violet meets Henry at this hotel and she's waiting a bit because he's a little late. And she's at the bar and she gets to mingle with the bartender and then like a few people around the bar. And then finally Henry shows up and you find out he's a photographer and they sit down at a table that's reserved for them, looking out at the greater Chicago, like beautiful view, etc. And then she starts getting these texts, these drops for memes that are pushing her to engage. And honestly, guys, like the only time I've done like photo drops are like if I'm with a group of girls and like we've all gone to a wedding or all gone on vacation or and whatnot, and we just that's how we share albums, etc., right? No other reason like for drops, but apparently like they talk about this how I guess it's common for strangers to just drop random photos and whatnot. So
Hmm.
she's getting these random drops that are a bit suspicious. And her date, Brendan's character, Henry, is like, yeah, it's probably just some weirdo sending you photos. And she's like, well, it doesn't even have a name. Everyone else in the restaurant has like a face to a name. And she gets finally, like, she's like, who is hitting me up so constantly? And then she finally accepts the drops and she gets a message pretty much to follow along and to be pretty much a part of, or basically this guy says follow along otherwise your son dies. And he says, well, look at the security cameras, and she sees this strange man in like with a mask on in the house with a gun from her cameras. And he's like, this guy will kill your son unless well, you need to cooperate, otherwise this guy's gonna kill your son. So she's like, what the heck? And it also says, do not tell your date. If you tell your date, dies. I'm also cloning your phone so you can't text anybody because we'll see what you're texting. We'll see what's going on. And you come to find out that this person who you find out at the end who is actually after her bugged the entire restaurant. So is following every one of her moves, everything from like the table to the bar to the ladies' room, knows exactly what she's up to. And at this point, you're like, who in the restaurant is it? Because technically you can't drop outside of 50 feet. So this is sort of like a mystery. Who's actually bugging her? Why is she being bugged? And then what's the intent? And based on the preview, you get to you this is well known at the very beginning. She is basically being set up to kill her date. For some reason, you find out why, but she cannot say anything because if she does and does not cooperate, son dies. So that's the whole intent of the movie. Uh, Based on the previews, I was really excited to see this film. It starts out really good, and then as it unravels, it gets a little ridiculous. It unpacks some serious trauma that this woman has gone through with her past, her previous relationship with the father of her, well, yeah, the guy who passed away, who was her father's son, her her son's father, excuse me, and it goes through. I mean, she goes through like a lot emotionally throughout the film, and just deciding whether she should speak up, not speak up. Should she run home or does she is she stuck there at that restaurant? So it's definitely a thriller for sure. A little bit bogus with just some of the stuff that happens, like very unrealistic, of course, but it takes you there and such. But yeah, I mean, if you want something that's new, edgy, definitely go see it. I just wasn't like I wasn't as excited about it as I thought I would be based on the previews, for sure. So it's a Blumhouse production. So if you liked
Mhm.
Megan, if you liked A Silent Place, so a lot of those films usually fall under that category by Blumhouse, which I normally like Blumhouse productions.
Yeah,
Well,
Bloomhouse
it's
has
funny you
definitely
say
has a
Is it Blumhouse? Sorry,
yeah.
Blumhouse.
It's funny you say that though, because, and we're not going to jump ahead, but like
Okay,
Blumhouse, A24, Neon, they're kind of like the labels that are the it labels right now. And
sure.
I have to say, we're going to talk about this after yours, but we did see an A24 film that whoa, it was terrible. So,
Was it
anyway,
really an
so
A24 film?
yes, homie. But anyway, going back to
No.
yes, Bloomhouse. You're right. I think the first Bloomhouse movie I saw was Split, and then I saw, which I liked actually. I don't think you were that big of a fan from what I remember, but maybe you were. I don't know. But Split I liked.
We talked about it. Yeah,
But then after that it was Get Out. So that's when I started paying attention to Bloomhouse.
sure.
Mhm. Yeah,
And they
I'm
definitely have range for sure.
sure.
No question. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
of the three of A24, Neon, Bloomhouse, I
Mhm.
feel like Bloomhouse is the most hit or miss. They're they will take bigger swings at things or open themselves up to things
Hmm.
that are just not as good as some of the other stuff. Um, and that's just how they roll. But it works for them for the most part. I mean, they've been making movies for a while. They lean a little more generally to horror and thriller,
Right.
whereas A24. To be fair, I actually like A24's horror a lot, but they are a little more psychological in a lot of cases, a little more heady. Neon leans towards horror quite a bit at the time too. So, but Bloomhouse is widely known for horror.
Yeah.
Um,
The Black Phone is actually Bloomhouse as well.
yep, second one's coming out soon.
Yes, I saw that, and that's going to be like around Halloween, or at least in the fall, last couple months of 2025. But yeah, overall, guys, like I was expecting more. Just based on the previews, you're like, this looks awesome. Like definitely something that has you on the edge of the seat. And this just wasn't doing it for me. I was not happy with the, yeah, I mean, there were some surprises for sure, but I just thought some of it was just absolutely ridiculous and so unrealistic. So where it's like this guy who Brandon Sklenar plays, Henry, there's no way in hell this guy is gonna still be at the date the entire time with everything going on. Like, hell no, this guy's out. Like, once this woman is in the bathroom, the first case, because she's, making up stuff along the way. This guy, it's just so unrealistic with just dating,
Well,
just how shady like dating is in general nowadays. People don't invest that much time into people, especially in a first date, like
well,
this guy
and
does.
it's
It's
funny
it's
because
wild.
like she's gorgeous, right? So like if you
Sure.
for a normal guy, you go on a date with that girl, you're like, she might be a little crazy, but I'll wait. You know, you'd be like, this might still work out. But he is
Yeah,
a
not
handsome son
after
of a
this
bitch.
film.
But he's a super good looking dude too. So like he could be like,
He has
yeah,
a
she's pretty, but I'll get another pretty
Well, that's
one.
the
You
other
know,
thing
like
too. It's like this guy has options. He all of a sudden is like for this single mom. It's just unbelievable. I'm gonna stick out this entire date when like the shadiest stuff
I
goes
actually
down.
agree with that. I
yeah.
agree with that.
No way. No way. I don't care how good looking you are.
But see, knowing that going in, I can be ready for it and accept the fact that people are going to do dumb things. It doesn't make it a better movie, but at least it makes it so that I understand what I'm going to see.
You know what
Sure.
I think? I think horror in general, I'm learning more and more. You have to understand that people are going to do dumb things because otherwise they wouldn't put themselves in
Yes.
that
Sure.
position.
Yes.
Let's go
Yeah.
investigate that noise.
Yeah, there's a really great horror flick. It's I forget what it's called. It's like under the water or under the lake, I think is what it's called. And these people literally scuba dive into a lake where there is a haunted house supposedly at the bottom of the lake
No.
because the lake got filled.
Hmm.
And then they get stuck in there and weird shit happens. And I'm like, dude, why? Why would you do that? Why,
Right.
like it's
I don't
just
think this
stupid.
was this wasn't horror though,
No, it's a
guys.
This
This
is a
thriller,
is
yeah.
thriller. Yeah.
thriller.
But still,
This is a
anything
thriller.
that's involves danger, people are just going to like, oh, what
Make
could it
dumb
be?
decisions.
Yeah,
Well,
it
Yes,
she
makes me
does
think
get
of something like Red Eye, back in the day, like
yeah,
a thriller. It's not a horror movie, but
sure.
it's still kind of a scary situation.
Yeah, but
I
did
had
she
to. You saw that?
I saw it. Rachel McAdams, I thought like was smart about or as smart as she could
Yeah.
at that point, right? Especially you're in a very vulnerable position being on a plane like that.
Mm,
Whereas this one
yeah.
was in a restaurant. I mean, I don't know. It's just Brendan's like his character Henry, like within the first 5, 10 minutes would have been like, I gotta go, I'm sick. Like, no way is he sticking around that long. It's ridiculous. So that was kind of my feedback on that. And also just a lot of other scenes. I was like, this is unreal. This is not realistic at all. It's kind of stupid, whatever. But yeah, go see it. I think in theory I was more like hyped by it because I'm like, oh, this is really cool, relatable people going on first dates, and then all of a sudden like something weird happens. Like, no, this is just no, didn't do it for me. Sorry.
Well, I just read up on Bloomhouse. So they, again, Paranormal Activity, liked it. Insidious franchise, cool. Sinister, The Purge, um, Megan, like you said, Five Nights at Freddy's. But
Yep,
they also did Whiplash, which I loved. That's
Whiplash.
more of a
Yeah.
drama film. So
that was
that,
up
and
for Academy Awards.
Yep. Yep.
actually, Homeboy won.
Yeah.
Yeah, Best Supporting. H. Jonah Johnson, whatever his name is.
J.K.
J.K.
Simmons,
Simmons. Yeah.
Thank you. Love him. He was amazing in that movie.
he was
Um,
amazing.
Klansman won Academy Awards
Oh,
for
that's a
Best
good
Original
flick.
Screenplay and Best Adapted Screenplay. Oh wait, okay, original for Get Out and Black Klansman adapted. So yeah, no, Bloomhouse is kind of the shit.
Yeah. Like I said, they're hit or miss. They will make some bad, like some corny films,
Sure.
but I think that's further in the past. Like I think they're upping their game now that they've been around for a while.
Yeah.
Um, this drop, it was a pretty low budget film. It was only made for like $11 million,
Yeah.
which is pretty impressive. But it only made 3.5 million, give or take,
It's
this
also it's
weekend.
only been out for 2 days.
Yeah, so we'll see what
Too
it
soon
does.
to tell.
It doesn't
Yeah.
seem like it may not make its money or a whole lot more.
I don't know.
But to be fair, like I hadn't even heard of it. Like I think again, this comes back to
Really?
poor marketing.
It's everywhere in New York City. I see it on the subways. You see it everywhere.
To be fair, everything is everywhere in New York City. If
Not the
you-
Ballad of Wallis Island.
yeah,
That wasn't everywhere. This is literally everywhere advertisement wise. I'm seeing it like just on television for ads.
Might be a regional thing.
yeah. Well, and the thing too is like you didn't enjoy it as much as you thought you would, and I completely understand why. I agree. Andrew agrees. Whatever.
Yeah.
But it looks like, generally speaking, it's like review wise, it's not doing that bad.
The
It's
Rotten Tomatoes is decent.
yeah, it's like 80s on
Mhm.
both sides,
Yeah, they
and
Sure.
agree.
then IMDb is like a 6.6, which is fine to me for this kind of movie. Um,
Yeah.
if I'm going to see it, if it's like a 6.5 or a 7, that's probably where I would expect it to be.
Sure.
Um, and like I said, especially knowing what to expect and the things that I wouldn't like, I'm more likely to enjoy this movie because my expectations are lowered about those things, right? So
Yeah,
I'll be okay. It's in theaters. It's not it's not one of those movies that you can just go rent right away on
correct.
streaming, but you can, unlike Ballad of Wallis Island, you can pre-order this right now for 25 bucks. So it's coming, it's going to be available for digital sooner
Yeah.
rather than later. So
No one's gonna
um,
know about Ballad of Wallis Island, unfortunately, and it's a shame because I think it's a good movie, but I
I
think it's
hope when
gonna
it
be one of
comes out, it
those.
hits a good streamer. Like it hits a
I
good
hope
streamer,
it
it kind of gets
does
front
too.
ended. Yeah.
Yeah, it should. It's just one of those films that I think wasn't really marketed. Well, I didn't even know about it until I saw it was coming out on AMC.com, and I watched the trailer, and then I saw I read some reviews. I was like, this is clearly like it's getting enough attention from a critic standpoint. Why
Yeah.
not see it? But yeah, no one else has heard of it. I told my parents about it. They're like, I've never heard of this film. Go
Yeah.
see it. But yeah,
So, all
Drop's
right.
getting advertised everywhere though.
Yeah. To be fair, it's the kind of movie that you expect to make some money. You
Yeah,
know,
of
it's an action
course.
movie with pretty people.
Correct.
You know, that's all you really need. And
Yep,
those two would
exactly.
make beautiful babies and the world would be just fine. But all right. So, Andrew, that movie was seriously made by A24.
Yeah, man.
Y2K was
Why?
made by A24.
Okay.
Oh, all right. So for anybody that doesn't know, Andrew and I are going to have a little fun here because I saw this movie on HBO. It came out, I think it came out late last year. It may have been the beginning of this year. I'm not sure.
24.
Um,
Yeah.
it's
March.
it's
December 6th, 2024. Yeah, late
okay,
last.
yeah. It is, dude. I don't even know what it is. Is it a horror film? I don't friggin' know. It's supposed to be based on, around what would, something that could have happened in Y2K, 1999 when the calendar flipped midnight, right? The whole world thought we were all going to just shut down because computers couldn't handle changing a year because I don't know why. Um, and so this movie came out, it came and went, and I was like, that looks kind of dumb. It was on HBO, so I was like, sure, I'll give this a shot. Didn't even know it was A24. I didn't know until Andrew just told me. Um, this is one of the worst movies I've seen in a long, long time. Like this was a horrendous movie. Like I should have turned it off. I think the only reason Andrew didn't turn it off is because I watched it and we wanted to talk about it. It is horrible. There's no redeeming quality to this film at all. Rachel Zegler is one of the main characters. Any ability she has is wasted. This could have been played by anybody. Andrew, you said it. She needs to fire her agent. Like, so I obviously loved it. What did you think?
It was terrible. I mean, it was like, and here's the thing. I went in expecting it to be bad, right? And I'm a sucker for nostalgia. So they were nailing all the musical cues. At
Yes,
one point, even
that I will say.
song comes on by Cisco, and I'm like, wasn't that 2000 or was that did the album drop in 99? And sure enough, the album dropped November of 99. It was a hit in 2000, but I was like, okay, that's accurate. There was so much music and so much nostalgia, and I remember like 99 2000 because that to me we're the same age, man. So
Yeah.
that was like basically like our senior, well, anyway, for me, like my senior year of college, like it was like I remember all of it. I
Yep.
remember
Yep.
Winamp and
Winamp. It really whips the llama's ass.
and everything,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So the first like 15 minutes of the movie are actually not that bad. It's like, okay, you're even the AOL chat between him and Ziegler's character.
That was a
Dig
flashback.
it.
That was 100% flashback.
Yeah,
Like
I
I've been
remember
there.
all
Like,
of that. But the moment I knew it was going to be bad was once they go to the movie video store, and the guy gets high, and then all of a sudden there's this weird ass montage, and I'm like, hey, that's bad. Like this is going to be a bad movie. And then it's really bad when they are at a party. It feels like Can't Hardly Wait or something.
yep.
And then all of a sudden, like the Y2K thing happens, and all of a sudden, like the household appliances somehow come to life and start killing everybody. Like There's
like
a
as completely different like like build
the movie
themselves into
changed,
something else like that.
and the deaths are like funny.
Ridiculous. Yeah, yeah.
And so it's like, okay, is this like a feel-good nostalgia movie, or is this a gory comedy? And to me, that's what the movie became, a stupid, gory comedy. And if you're gonna have a stupid, gory comedy, we better not see anybody recognizable in it, because that's what a movie like The Stoned Age, people look out for that movie. That was back in 94. It's silly, it's stupid, and nobody recognizable is in it. It's just a dumb, like, direct-to-video movie back in the day. That's what this should have been. But no, you had Snow freaking White in this movie. What the hell? What are you doing there? Everybody else is unrecognizable for the most part, except for I think it's Miles Gooding or something. Anyways, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s kid, like, who's also in the Scream movies, he's good, but just what are you doing there? Anyway, so between a fan blade, a ceiling fan blade going in someone's head, between so the somehow, like, computers like are able to make appliances assemble themselves and become walking robots. There's these little, like, things on, like, tracks, like stabbing people or like drilling people in the head or like chopping off arms. Like, what? Like, what is this movie? And and it tries so hard to be funny, and then there's at one point, like, okay, I got this. I'm gonna show up in a second. But at one point, it was disgusting. They run into like a porta potty, right?
Yes.
Like four of them in a porta potty. All of a sudden, Back at One by Brian McKnight playing, right? Out of the fucking robot, right? So if the robot's playing it, but the porta potty's falling away from the robot, why is that song still playing, like, when it's way up in the hill and Rachel Ziegler and him have like their, like, kiss moment while shit and piss is falling all over them? Yes, Lauren, that happened.
Yes, it did.
Snow White made out with a guy while she was being covered in shit and piss from a fucking porta potty. What? And this movie came out in 2024. If it would be one thing if this movie came out when she was a struggling actress trying to rise, but no, she'd already done Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. What are you doing? Fire your agent. You should have quit. And I'm almost done. And one of the producers of the film is actually the creator of The Bear, dude. Christopher Storer is on this.
The
What?
director is Kyle Mooney from SNL.
Well, that explains a whole lot.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is the hero, like the hero at the end of the movie is Fred Durst, if that
Fred,
doesn't tell you something. Like I was like, what are you doing? But I said it in the chat too, like, to me this movie wanted to be the next Shaun of the Dead. Like, it wanted to be silly horror, but have some heart to
he
it
was
and
the
whatever.
stoner.
And it
Okay.
just didn't. It just
Kyle Mooney was a stoner.
yeah, he was
Has this
the
moment and gets his arm chopped off
yeah.
and then his head. But anyway, like, it's, yeah, I'm sorry. I just I could see how, like, maybe if you were watching it at South by Southwest where it debuted, like, it's a if you're all in the movie theater, you're all a little high or drunk or whatever, and you're just ready to laugh. It's an experience. It's dumb. There's an after
Yeah.
credit scene. You laugh, but you're like, what the hell did I just watch? Okay. But I think Bodies is a better movie for that
Oh, for
than
sure.
this.
Like 100 times better. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of the lower rated films I've seen on IMDb. It's a 4.8, which is very low. I think the audience is a 50 and it's a 40 something from the critics. Like, it's is bad. Like when Alicia Silverstone is playing the mom, like
You
uh,
didn't know the age of
She played the mom in Saltburn. Oh no, not Saltburn. In the one that you recommended to me, Kevin. Um, the one where the guy from Saltburn, Barry Keegan.
Oh, the Sacred Deer? What?
Yeah, yeah. The Sacred Deer.
Killing of the
oh, the
Sacred
Killing of
Deer.
a Sacred Deer. Okay,
Yeah, she plays the mom in that too,
yeah. Which
which
is
is
fine. Like, I
wild.
mean, she's that age now where she should be playing moms.
Moms.
That
Yeah.
that's fine.
It was
It's
like
just
pretty
like,
random though in that film.
yeah. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, like this. I mean, this movie literally has zero redeeming qualities other
Zero.
than possibly the
The
soundtrack.
music. Yeah,
Yeah,
the music was on point. Even, yeah, having Fred Durst perform Faith, I thought that was kind of cool and
yeah,
cool
that actually
nod.
worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, dude, like I would not know. Like as soon as the party started with the attack of the killer appliances, that's when I would have checked out. Yeah, because it was like I don't have time for this. I need to watch something that's actually of substance. But I will say again, if you live, yeah, man, I'll say the only redeeming quality is if you lived through that shit. If you
Yeah.
actually remember 1999, 2000, this is like an Elsewhere tale. It's as if for some reason the computers actually try to take over the world
But
because
yeah, I think the problem though is that all that nostalgia goes away as soon as the Y2K bug hits because then it just becomes stupid. Like
yeah,
some of the music is still there, but otherwise all that fun nostalgia stuff that it was in the
it's
beginning,
gone.
video stores, AOL, dial-up, all that stuff that was that you're watching and you're like, "Oh shit, I remember that." Like cuz we're talking I mean, we're talking 25 years ago, right?
Yep.
Like um i- once that's not a thing and
Did
it's
they
you're
fill
just on the run.
bathtubs in this film?
They did not fill any bathtubs, but they were partying because they were teenagers that didn't really
Care
believe
or
that anything
think
was gonna.
that?
Yeah,
I just remember that like my parents were filling the bathtub in 99, but you didn't know about this, Andrew? People
yeah,
fill
because if there's no
bathtubs.
power, you wouldn't have any water, so you gotta.
Correct. Yeah, but I just
Yeah,
remember like everyone in the neighborhood had to fill their bathtubs.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I know exactly where I was. I was in Rancho Santa Margarita, California, ringing in the New Year's with my girlfriend's house.
yeah.
Just
Like I was one of the people that just did not buy it. I was just like, there's no way.
That this
Like
would
it did
happen.
not bother
Yeah.
me at all. I didn't make any preparations. I didn't do anything. I was just like, no, it's nonsense. Um, and yeah, it was just. Yeah, for the nostalgia, again, that's the only thing that it has going for it. I've actually seen the main kid in a couple of things.
oh, really? I haven't seen him in anything.
Yeah, I just don't really see him having a career that isn't in like odd comedies.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in Mr. Harrigan's Phone. That's what I remember him from. Oh, and he was in The First Knives Out. And
Oh,
oh, no, 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 no. He's in the It. He's in It. He was, I mean, he's been in a few things actually that have done pretty well.
Jaden
Um,
Martell.
Yeah,
uh, he,
I've seen
he,
him in
he's
it.
certainly been around. He's not a great or bad actor. He's just kind of there. But to be fair, he's been in a handful of things that are pretty good besides this. So, he might still be on the rise, but um,
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen anything. Like I'm looking at the filmography and I mean, yeah, I don't know. I
yeah,
mean,
I
outside of
only
Knives Out,
I only saw Mr. Harrigan's Phone because I'm a Stephen King fan.
okay.
He was
Mm.
fine in that one. Um, oh, he was the son in Defending Jacob on Apple TV with Captain America. Um,
Chris Evans.
Knives Out, the It films, like those are all solid
Yeah.
things. So he has been in some stuff that is pretty good. So the career potential is there. I don't think this derailed him because he was in a film called Out of Body that that's a short that came out this year. Yeah, I don't know. Actually looking at this might have shot him in the foot. Like this,
Yeah,
you know,
I think so. Now, Julian Dennison, on the other hand, like I will say, like he was actually probably one of the better parts of the movie. I thought he was funny. He was over the top. When I don't think anybody cares when he died. When he did, like I was a little surprised. Like, damn, they
yeah,
killed
I
him off
thought he was going to be in there
quickly.
longer for
Like,
sure.
really? So his thong songs, both in the credits and during the party, were hilarious.
Hilarious.
And he was in good Godzilla. Well, I recognize him from Deadpool 2. He was in
Yep.
Godzilla versus Kong. He's going to be in How to Train Your Dragon in 2025. So I think he's going places, and I like him. I just keeping it real. Don't end up like John Candy. That's all I'm saying, dude. Like
Yep.
John was only 32 or something. He was or 35. So that's I'm sorry, like that people might be like, Andrew, that's not your business. It probably isn't my business, but you're good, dude. Just take care, and
Yep.
and those who know what I'm talking about. But yeah, anyhow, it was bad, and I laughed at how bad it was, and it was even an interstitial. Like you'd log on to Max, and it actually got one of those like whole screens to get you to watch it. So
Mhm.
I don't know who got who got a blowjob for? I'm joking. But anyway, like who
Yes.
like I'm saying, like somebody did something to get
Yeah.
that, because the movie did not deserve to get promoted. It was
No,
real,
no.
y'all.
Yeah, I would not have like searched out this movie, but I remember seeing a trailer and being like, that looks kind of dumb. And then when it was up there, I was like,
Hmm.
I got to watch something for this week, so let me check this out. But I told you I was like, why am I not turning this off? Like I should have turned it off, but I finished it because I just didn't have anything else.
I get knocked
Um,
down. I get up
yeah,
again. Like that song is in my brain because of the fucking movie. It's like,
yep,
oh, Danny. I actually closing time or
yep, yep.
like I just Shazammed that. Like, so yeah, their music game was
Yeah, that was the only thing that made it good. And like you said, like the first 15 minutes,
yeah.
especially if you grew up in that time, are a nice little nostalgia punch. I would almost say watch that bit when everything goes to shit, just turn it off and go watch something else because it's just stupid after that.
Correct.
Um, yeah, and then it turns into like Lawnmower Man. Like it was terrible.
Even the bad CGI. It was just like,
Yes, yes.
all right.
So, all right. Well, I think we've discussed everything, maybe ever. Um, Andrew he's committing right now to watching Adolescence before next week. Um,
Fuck, I just remembered. Shit. Okay, I'll see if I can make it next week. I remember I was supposed to be out next week, but I want to see if I can try just like come through for maybe that and then
yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
So we will do that. Hopefully Andrew will be there for next week to talk about that. Because I think it's an interesting, if nothing else, a very good conversation piece. Um, and we'll see what else comes. Oh shit. I know what I'm talking about next week.
Last of Us,
Last of Us drops tomorrow
baby.
night.
Comes out tomorrow
So
night.
I'll be talking about that. Hacks came back. I haven't watched that yet. I may sleep on that for a little while all those episodes come out because um, it's a quick watch, but it's a fantastic show. Um,
Well, I'm going to do a shameless plug really quick.
sure.
Some of us may know that All Pop No Culture has also broken out into the world of mecha anime. So those of you who might know about Robotech, if you're a fan of Robotech, check out robotechpodcast.com
Robo Talk
because,
podcast.
oh my God, that was terrible. Robotalkpodcast.com, just like it sounds. I did watch Evangelion GQX last night. It's a new series out of Japan. It's brand new. There's only one episode out right now, but
Hmm.
Amazon Prime is simulcasting it. So far,
Oh
so
wow.
good. I might talk
Hmm.
about it maybe next week. But the short version is like Transformers 1, don't be scared by the character designs. Yes, they are modern anime. It's all cutesy and shit. It's not like what we're used to, but it does respect the source material, and it's basically an alternate universe version of UC Gundam for those of you who know what that
Hmm.
is. But anyhow, robotalkpodcast.com.
We've got one episode out. There should be another one out this week. The first episode was a interview with
Tony
Tony
Oliver,
Oliver, who
and I could have
plays.
talked, yeah, and I
Yeah,
could have talked about the Hollywood demons, the dark side of the Power Rangers, but maybe I can save that for another episode as
yeah, yeah.
well.
We'll
Because
save
that
that
was
for sure.
all up in the feed about, Yellow
Hmm.
Ranger and Black Ranger being played by an Asian woman and a black man. And they were like, maybe we
Yeah, and
should
how nobody
keep
caught
you on
that
the
until it was
nose.
too damn late.
But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, so check out that podcast, especially if you're a fan of Robotech and you grew up in our era. It Tom, who we interviewed
Tony.
several episodes
Oh,
ago.
I'm sorry, Tom. Yes, yes, keep going,
Yeah,
sorry.
Tom is
Damon.
the interviewer of Tony Oliver. The interview was recorded back in 2010, I believe. So it's older, but no one's ever heard it before. So it's information from Tony Oliver about his career. Definitely some stuff about Robotech in there. But it is also kind of about his career as a whole, and he's a very fascinating guy. So it's a really cool interview. And unlike this show, we kept it tight. It's only an hour long, so it's a little more digestible. But really cool. Like there's really cool stuff. We got more stuff coming, so that little spin-off show will be a lot of fun.
Give us a like, give us a subscribe.
Yep. Yep.
Gotcha.
So, all right, cool. Well, with that, I will say thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great week, and we will see you next time.